That's it. Fred Byrnes here. I'm going to read a few poems. I'll show you this painting I did on the back of a Johnny D's pizza. Johnny D's in Huntington Station, Long Island, New York. The garden spot of Long Island. Accurate panel of this stuff first. Get them bottles in there and all that apparatus. Very good. Very good. Alright, first poem I'll read is called Maria. Maria. You'll see her right away in the King Cullen, where she works as a cashier. You can't miss her. Like a work of art, a mythical goddess of beauty, carefully sculpted by Michelangelo, or a portrait painted by Rembrandt. Hanging in a museum, her face would capture your eyes to soak in memory that someone like her exists in everyday happenings. It's all as simple as a smile that holds on a bit of phoniness as she rings up customers. To see her in the supermarket is to find the hands of Michelangelo, the paintbrush of Rembrandt. And for the next selection, I'll be reading Another Blonde, Another Poem. Sitting in a very crowded Social Security office, there's at least 50 people seated, standing, waiting for their number to be called. I've always tried to avoid the authorities as Confucius preached, but here I am living a sort of American dream. Went to colleges and universities and I end up on food stamps. Just a cosmic joke. The dust on Mars doesn't care about my degrees or food stamps. A number gets called. This nice-looking young blonde goes to the window and says loudly, "I got divorced again," which causes laughter in the room amidst the fantasies her blondness is causing in the minds of every man in the room. She then says, "I married this guy twice and divorced him twice," which causes more laughter. With her forms properly filed, she leaves the waiting room in tight blue jeans and black ankle boots. Who knows, maybe she'll marry that guy again. My number gets called. I have nothing to say that'll make anyone laugh. All I got was an eyeful at another nice-looking blonde and another poem that won't buy me coffee and donuts. And the title of this poem is called Potassium. Just wrote a poem about a pretty cashier in the supermarket after I had to go to the doctor to give a blood sample. My potassium level is high. It could kill me. When I was a teenager, I was told cigarettes and alcohol would kill me. Well, fuck it. Cigarettes and booze didn't kill me. Now at age 61, it's don't eat too many bananas, don't drink too much fat-free half and half, don't eat too many prunes. Well, Khrushchev and Kennedy didn't launch those missiles in October of 1962. I didn't get drafted and killed in Vietnam. I stopped drinking alcohol in 1981, stopped smoking cigarettes in 1987. Here in 2014, it's potassium that could kill me. Well, something eventually will. Until then, I guess I'll always find something to write about, even when I'm minus a little blood. I don't even know what potassium is. Today I found out a boyhood friend was dying of cancer. I went to a supermarket and bought some groceries. Talked to a couple of people I knew in the store. The weather was spring-like for January. I had some turkey breast on whole wheat for lunch. Then I went to the post office to mail a few letters. Kathy, an attractive postal clerk, was her usual pleasant self. She makes me realize with folks like her, the world is a tolerable place. I walked several blocks to a Dunkin' Donuts and had coffee while reading in the New York Post about whether an overpaid baseball player took steroids or not. I wondered why this seems so important when there's war, poverty, political corruption running rampant around the globe. Mostly I thought about a boyhood friend dying of terminal cancer. The calendar is canceling us out as we enter old age. Once we were young and death seemed very far off. It edges closer now every day. As normal as a trip to the supermarket, a turkey sandwich, a pleasant postal clerk, even an overpaid baseball player, who in the whole scheme of things isn't important at all. Here's one I wrote about one of my favorite fighters, Jerry Quarry, who is said to be one of the most talented heavyweights never to win the heavyweight championship. Irish Jerry Quarry. Thanksgiving 2013. You're appearing in a rerun of I Dream of Jeannie, a rather silly sitcom of the 60s. It must be 1966. You're young, strong, powerful, with thick-muscled arms. A white heavyweight contender who could really fight, although you hadn't fought Ali or Frazier just yet. In 2013, you rest in a graveyard in Bakersfield, California. You've become more myth than man. A rock-chinned white hope with a knockout punch in either hand, who could have been a world champion, who died too young in an intensive care unit. Brain damaged, too many fights with too many tough fighters, good fighters, great fighters. Was it that simple? Once you were alive, now you're dead. There's no reruns to make you young and powerful, pacing in a corner of the ring at Madison Square Garden to hear the cheers of the fans for a contender. And when the blink of a television, Jeannie's eyes was gone. And here's what I wrote for Alfred Hitchcock, called For Hitchcock. Hey man, you just ain't coming off looking too good in the movies they're now making about you. They're portraying you as some double-chinned, overstuffed sex maniacs, following your blonde leading ladies around with sad puppy dog eyes and a half-crooked heart on. What did they expect from a genius? You used birds to scare the living shit out of moviegoers. You made the totally boring James Stewart seem interesting. You drew performances out of Kim Novak and Janet Leigh that stand out over 50 years later. Who could blame you for chasing those fine tales? You're not around to defend yourself, and the expiration date for beauty has expired on those blondes you lusted for, or they've just expired. And if you could see what passes for movies today, well, there's no point in going into that. Even if you were a lonely, horny genius, who remembers the name of that prince Grace Kelly got hitched to? And the final poem here, this little set 2. It's called Scarlett and the Alligator and Uncle Wally. The chicken soup in the diner is tasty and full of chunks of chicken. Sue the waitress is tall, slim, pretty, with a good sense of humor. I read in the Daily News that Scarlett Johansson stars in her next movie as an alien who kills Scottish hitchhikers, then sells them as meat on her home planet. There's a couple of photos of Scarlett showing a lot of leg and tit, which look a lot tastier than my bowl of chicken soup that I hope isn't full of chunks of Scottish hitchhiker. I flip through a few pages of the newspaper and come upon a photo of 6 guys holding up a 700-pound alligator down in Mississippi, where they stalked the poor creature for 12 hours before killing it with a crossbow. I have no plans in my immediate future to visit Mississippi. I leave the diner. The weather has already started to change from summer to fall, and it's only the 4th day of September. In the supermarket for dinner, I see a display with Uncle Wally's corn muffins, 6 to a plastic container. I wonder just who in the hell Uncle Wally is. That's it for now.